Uh-oh.
And so I'm on the back of the computer, it's not mine, and things don't quite look the same.
Sort of rub it on your
Okay.
tie a little bit. I'm going to pick it up a little bit.
Okay, here, I won't.
No.
I'll leave it unbuckled. Buckled? Buttoned. How about unbuttoned? Whenever you guys are ready, just let me know and take your time. You guys are good? Go ahead and get started then. Okay. Well, good afternoon, and thank you so much for being here. What I'd like to do is make a brief statement, then share our findings, and then City Manager Ty Lasher and I are happy to take any questions you may have for us. Let me begin at the Bel Air City Council workshop on the evening of April 12th. Councilmember Betty Martine admitted to billing certain sewer accounts, Sunrise Christian Academy and Catholic Care Center, at rates that were not in accordance with city ordinance. Not in accordance with city ordinance, when she was a city paid employee serving as water clerk. Extremely surprised and wanting to be proactive, immediately after the workshop, I asked staff to research this to see if, in fact, two well-established not-for-profits here in Bel Air had been overcharged. The very next morning, staff began a preliminary review of the accounts mentioned to see if any inaccurate billing had, in fact, occurred. After staff was able to compare historical ordinances to historical billing information, it did appear that there were inaccuracies in the billing. At that time, an external auditor, Allen Gibbs and Hewlett, was contacted and hired to conduct a review of the billing. Also, assuming the public would begin to ask questions, as they have, since this admission was made in a public meeting, we also had a few randomly selected residential accounts added to this audit at the same time. That work began on Monday, May 2nd, so 1 week ago. The external auditor's report was officially submitted less than 2 hours ago, and I'm here to make that report available to the public. And let me back up for a moment. On Thursday, May 5, we received a preliminary report showing 9 accounts had been charged incorrectly. On May 5 and May 6, the city contacted all of the victims and let them know about the preliminary findings. This information has also been shared with city council members. At this time, no decisions have been made in regards to the overbilled accounts. Bel Air was founded in 1980, making us a pretty young city. In 1990, our population stood at 3,695. Today, I estimate that our population to be closer to 8,000 residents, with more and more families and businesses choosing to move to our great community. I'd like right now to speak to all current and future Bel Air citizens. I want to assure all of our residents and businesses that we take this very seriously, which is why we acted right away when we heard the admission at the same time you did. We have learned this is isolated just to these 9 accounts and 1 city employee from 2003 to 2007. I want to apologize on behalf of the city to these 9 account holders. The city takes responsibility for this action. We know this is a huge issue, and I look forward to working with each account holder on correcting this act. The inaccurate billing is not an ongoing issue, and no current city staff were or are involved. I'd like to reiterate that this is not an ongoing issue. The city cooperated fully with the external auditor and will cooperate fully with any authorities who may become involved in the future. We underwent this action because it was the city's goal to determine if customers were harmed and to take swift action to correct any harm that is determined to have occurred. So now to the findings. You all should have a copy of the report. It looks like this. I want to let everybody know we looked at commercial accounts from 2003 to 2007. And we are confident it is limited to these 9 accounts. In total, you can see that 9 separate accounts or customers were overcharged by nearly $30,000 during this 4-year time frame. This was so well hidden that this happened to Sedgwick County and to a business that was owned at the time by a sitting council member. With that, I will stand for any questions. Again, if you guys have the report, actually I'll go through the findings real quick. We see that Sunrise Christian School was overcharged $1,113. Sunrise Christian Academy was overcharged $5,322. Resurrection Church was overcharged $3,910. Resurrection was overcharged $824. And I want to point out, you notice, same names there, like with Resurrection, and I wish I could tell you, I'm not sure if that's the church or the school or the rectory. That's why you see different names there, because each building has the different account there. Treetop Nursery was overcharged $1,115. Catholic Care Center was overcharged $18,899. And then on a separate account, at the same time, they're actually undercharged by just under $4,000. Sedgwick County, this was our fire department out here, was overcharged $1,057. And Heartland Animal Hospital was overcharged just under $1,000 at $983, showing the difference to be $29,258. So those are the findings which we make public now. Again, that you guys all have that report in front of you, and with that, be happy to answer any questions that I can for any of you.
So $29,000, what happens to that? Is the city gonna pay it back? What's the plan?
Well, that'll be up to the council. I hope that we can have a decision within 30 days. My recommendation will be to offer a full refund and or credit of some kind for the future. But again, that will be up to the city council to go through that.
So, David, I mean, why did it happen? We get it that it happened, so what's the why?
That, I don't know. I can't speak to that.
Well, when I talked to Betty at the last meeting, she said that it happened because her supervisor told her to. And who is that supervisor? Where is he or she?
She has yet to identify who that person was or is.
What, the supervisor?
Yeah.
But you know who it is, don't you?
No, I don't.
I mean, that person was employed by Aire, right?
Yeah, and
so how do you not know who this person is?
Well, we have to go back and, I mean, we're looking at the different, like her evaluations and all of that. At this time, like I said, we just don't know exactly who the supervisor was. That I know who some of her supervisors are, but we don't know which one she says told her to do this.
And so she just did it? She didn't question it?
You would have to ask Mrs. Martin that question.
Okay, and is there anything on the criminal side, or is this all civil? I mean, is there any kind of penalty for her or the supervisor?
Well, that's not our decision. That would be up to the Sedgwick County District Attorney, Mark Bennett, and his office to determine if anything criminal had happened. I'm sure he'll certainly be made aware of these findings, and we will cooperate fully, but I can't speak to if anything will be found.
Okay, but the money that was overcharged just went into the city's general fund then? Or did it go, do you know where it went?
To the best of my knowledge, yeah, back into the city fund. Again, we'd have to go back and look at all the different bank statements, and again, that would be up to the district attorney's office.
Okay, but it went to the city. It didn't go to an individual, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
What do you mean by that? It's okay. I mean, I'm just saying, nobody took, the money went straight back into the city, right? I mean, it wasn't taken by a person. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't believe so. But again, that would have to be up to an investigation. That's not something that I know at this time.
Have individual accounts been looked at to know that private residents were also mischarged?
Yeah, we actually did a random sampling of some of the residential accounts at that time, and I think we actually, did we speak to that in here? Again, we just got this a little bit ago. And actually, I'm going to ask City Manager Ty Lasher if he wants to come up, and I'm going to put him on the spot with that to see exactly where it is. But yeah, we asked that happened, that go through December 31st, 07. Let's see here. Yeah, they're actually,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, it does look, yeah, 37 instances were charges related to the tile sewer were billed to commercial customers. But yeah, we did, but as far as individual residents, we randomly selected 10 residential customers from the residential customer list. Again, January 1, 2003 to December 31st, 2007. And 2 of those residential customers had related residential accounts with the city's utility system. And then at the request of management, those additional accounts were added to the original sample of 10. So with respect to the sampled residential customers, we calculated a total of $17,867, while the total billed was $19,011. So yeah, there are a couple there. But with respect to one specific customer listed as residential in the city utility system, it appeared that the commercial base fee had been charged. But as far as who that is, I don't have that name readily in front of me at this time.
So I'm just making sure I understand you correctly, but what they found with residential was that rather than it being the kind of deliberate overcharge that we're seeing with commercial, it was just somebody got charged the commercial fee instead of the residential.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the deliberate, we're gonna charge them extra sewer meters.
Right, that's the way I understand it. Read this, yeah.
Any plans for any type of independent audit to look at this?
At this time, I feel confident with this audit done by Alan Gibbs Hulick that looked at those accounts again from that 4-year time frame through 2007. Looking at all the accounts, again, there were only 2 that were admitted to. Then the research found that there may be some others, which is what led to the outside audit, and they have looked at all of the accounts during that time commercial and isolated it to these 9 different accounts, and I'm confident that it is no more than that.
When we spoke last week, you told me and showed me that you guys are starting to go through the older paper accounts. Have you figured out yet when all this started? Where is that at?
That's an excellent question. But no, our accounts go back to 2003. We follow the state statute as far as record keeping, and something be happy to show you our retention records schedule, but we follow that. And so, yeah, we did. We tried when we found that there were some during that time period. Again, we wanted to be proactive and look just to see, because we care about our citizens and our residents and we want to do right by them. So we did try to see if there were some of those records available, and just didn't find those.
Talk about possible criminal. Has this been handed over to the DA yet? Is there plans to hand this information over?
At this point, it has not been handed over to the district attorney's office. Like I said, we just received it a couple of hours ago ourselves, but we will make a copy available. And then it will, at that point, it's totally up to his office, to our DA's office, if or what any criminal charges would be made or presented or filed, whatever the word is, for that. But, my goal was first and foremost to ensure that this isn't any bigger than it is, and to communicate with the overcharged account holders, and also to ensure citizens that they can trust our current systems that are in place. This was isolated to the to those 9 accounts during that time frame, and we've even looked just at some of our more recent ones too, to make sure that this isn't ongoing, and it did. It stopped there in 07.
I've had a lot of people emailing, tweeting, etc., calling for Martine's resignation. Any word, any response from her? We have not been able to get hold of her since the council meeting last week.
Yeah. I've also received a few phone calls and emails asking about that. I've even had some ask specifically or telling me, using words like fire her, but that, she works at the will of the citizens, not the will of the mayor. I cannot speak to what she is thinking. That's a decision that would be up to her and her attorneys. I've not received any notice of anyone resigning, but yeah, I certainly understand that some citizens are asking and have asked, but again, really can't speak to that.
As you're trying to deal with all of this, new facts coming forward all the time on it, what's your gut reaction every time this is coming up and you're going to get new information?
My gut reaction is that it's much bigger than the 2 that were admitted to at the workshop. My gut reaction was that, again, this was so well hidden. So I can sleep tonight knowing that it was isolated to these 9 accounts, and that we've reached out to every single one of those. I don't believe it to be any bigger than that, but certainly, like I said, state statute says we have to keep records for so many years, which we actually exceed that, but, so does it go back beyond that? There's just no way to tell that.
So we may never know.
Right. Yeah, it seems pretty isolated again to those 4 years. Anything else, guys? All righty. Well, thank you so much for coming, and be happy to talk with any of you individually if you'd like. And stay safe today, because it's getting dark out there, it looks like.